got this. We got this. You and me, we got this. Blue Badger, we got this. You saw it too, right? You've seen some shit. I actually don't understand, because he got a handprint on Gumshoe's locker, didn't he? How did he do that? With whatever. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall, even though I fucking presented it like multiple times. Why did I have to wait for him to say it? The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video! Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out? That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Ow! Fucking goddamn it! I'm always doing something with my toes that's cramping it. Fuck. I just want to stretch them out. Is that too hard? Is that so hard to ask? Come on! Ow! Go fucking faster! God damn it! You have the capability. Just do it. Oh! Oh, my cloth! It's gone! What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. And then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. He really did that fucking fast. Although admittedly the camera fucking is slow as shit, but hold your horses. Fuck, the judge said something and it automatically fucking advanced. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. We literally were just talking about it. God damn it. Marshall, you're so stupid. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? He's fucking buffoon. This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. We fucking talked about it. Couldn't he put 2 and 2 together that fingerprint lock? Duh! I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker. Now prove it. You fucking buffoon. I got scared. I thought it wasn't gonna go away. The fingerprint sensor. We fucking talked about this! We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? What's in his hand? There's something in his hand! Oh, I think that's supposed to be jerky. Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. Yeah, and Edward also mentioned it, and you mentioned it. Everyone mentioned it, even while he was here. God damn it. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Maybe it's not jerky. Maybe it's just leather. I don't know if he eats that. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! It was so short-lived. that went by so fast. Order! 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 Witness, explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke. This is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Is this supposed to be jerky? I always thought it was jerky, but maybe it's not. Does jerky stretch like that? Maybe it's just leather. Alright! Why? Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion.
Well then, let's hear it.
Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? So this is... God, Meekins is such a fucking idiot. God, it takes so long for that fucking bar to fucking disappear. I keep thinking that I get it wrong and then I'm gonna fucking get a game over. Let me just save just in case. Just in case. Officer Marshall is standing right there. Here, even. Whatever.
There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was.
Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But his build, his face is so fucking different from Goodman's. Jake has such a skinnier face and he's also tan to shit. Goodman is none of those. Hello? What the fuck was Meekins looking at? Maybe Meekins doesn't know what Goodman looks like. That's fair, but like, God, you would think that when they got his statement or when they questioned him, he would have said something. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife at me! Something about that officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card.
Oh, I get it!
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have had realized that the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall?
You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving that I dressed up as a victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim?
Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that.
I could see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat.
Ah, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do?
It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics.
The basic?
1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4.
For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box.
Now she's not a ghost this time, instead you're just a memory. Where's her ghost?
I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise.
Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance that it might be discovered later as it had been.
Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. And then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that
He opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, just where exactly is this piece of cloth?
Oh god. Sorry.
Just where exactly is this piece of cloth?
Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Why can't we just tell him to open it so that we can get whatever's inside it?
Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security cam. Kid tape, whatever. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth.
I don't trust you. I'm saving. Yeah, I save a lot. Whatever.
Please show us why the witness had to open his locker.
I think I know the answer to this. Hi, Badger. What could have caused this building to fucking be cracked at the top? What the hell kind of fucking structure is that? Oh, I can fast forward, sorry. I was just I forgot I can fast forward. I love that they didn't bother like changing his face expression, so even when he's getting fucking stabbed, he's just like how do I It's just little he's so stiff. He's like a toy, he's like a toy soldier or something. Anyway, is it this? Okay. For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked. That's so much blood. That's so much blood for that split-second interaction, though. And the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
A bloody white coat!
You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Did we do it?
Now then, Officer Marshall. Are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. All right. It seems the time has come. Huh? What? Why is it? Oh, I thought he was just gonna talk. Why do I have to fucking... I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I suddenly want tuna. I just suddenly caught like a random whiff of it. But like no one's eating tuna, so I'm just like smelling things from out of the blue. I don't smell it anymore, but for a split second, god damn it, I want a tuna. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
So the supposed victim was really you?
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor at the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. How did he cut his own hand? You were trying to you were trying to cut him. He didn't cut his own hand. You cut him. My guess is he's the donor. That's a lot of blood. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Maybe it's also because he was there unconscious, so it just like bled all over. It didn't stop. Poor guy. What am I doing? Well, I guess I just press everything. When you say it, do you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed.
And it was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over.
But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
That day was my last chance, and that's why
I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I plan to take out the evidence. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman?
If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere.
And so you did it to fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident.
So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report.
I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall.
And so essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner?
I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off?
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in that evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time.
Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
And I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year.
When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one?
You're nasty! I don't know what to say.
So you knocked out Officer Meekins and managed to escape. I knew which areas they caught on the camera. Sorry.
So you did your research beforehand?
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left.
However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins.
If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing there during that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby.
So what you're saying is, on that day,
there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
My hand hurts.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, I think I just realized the answer to the question I had earlier,
which it will probably come up later.
But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place.
What, are you blonde? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
So you stole the evidence from the locker?
Actually, no, I didn't.
What? Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor. Wait, did Edward lead Jake to say that it was gone? Because otherwise Edward wouldn't have known, right? So how can he claim? First of all, how could the judge be like, "Where is it?" if he just said that it's gone? Whatever, it's fine.
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense!
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are even a valid solution.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why?
Oh, does it by chance? Oh, we can check this. Oh my god, the perpetrator for the SL9 incident is Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder, sentence, death. Victims, Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall. Head prosecutor was Miles Edward. Witnesses were Lana Skye and Emma Skye. Investigation Task Force Executive to investigators were Damon Gann and Lana Skye. Head investigators were Bruce Goodman. Investigators were Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Oh, Neil Marshall. Do I press or do I present? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. But there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I just said no one will talk about it. I don't know. That's why I'm trying to find out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case, except for me. I better take another look at the files. Alright, yeah. Did it? Okay, I know. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
I have the SL9 incident file here. The name, Marshall, is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor?
I forgot about that. He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He is my husband. I shouldn't have made a joke. I shouldn't have made that joke. I'm sorry, Jake. You took over your hand for respect and everything, and I just made a fucking crass ass joke. Sorry. He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gett and the then Deputy Chief of Police.
There he is, right there in the corner! You would have never guessed it.
The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer.
Look at my knife. I'm gonna stab myself. Yes, his face is similar to fucking Gantz. Relations?
Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. And that was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. Okay, so if you shot him like 5 times, you saying he would have lived? And that's it. That's the reason for your insane actions. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how hard you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. And that was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room.
How many times have we seen this fucking scene?
Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department.
Chance? It's gotta be more than just that.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means that the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which, in turn, means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial!
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today.
But
there is only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. And there yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me, this boy got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it.
Wait, no, there's one thing. There's still one thing! There's still one thing, Edward!
Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. You did not see that wad of spit just come out of my mouth. Nope, you did not catch that. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less.
Fuck.
I rest my case.
But Edward, but Edgy, but babe.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tapes really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Oh, hi, Emma.
Your Honor, wait!
Emma!
The defense has an objection! A scientific objection! Right?
Where were you? Have you been watching this entire time? How would you know what do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edward, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
He's so generous. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Skye and sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So, I ran over there and looked at it again. Who let you in? Oh, you have the ID card. Never mind. Never mind. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clues we have. If we can't find something wrong with them... Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. What the fuck are you expecting me to do? Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Wait. Wait. Just to be sure. Could there be something I'm missing? Yes. I'd say so. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. Does it though? Well, I mean, I'm sure it does. I know I'm gonna regret doing this, but there's something I wanted to check. So you can't see the handprint here, which makes sense because the blue badger is blocking it. But when they walk in frame, are they behind the blue badger or in front of it? They're in front of it. Okay, I got it now. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. See, in case you didn't catch that, if the blue badger was in front of that locker, no one should have been able to walk behind it because everyone else was walking in front of it. So therefore, how did that handprint get there? Marshall couldn't have done it.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray that the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use.
The question is, which item can prove something was missing in the floor plans?
There it goes. What about that piece of plywood? The blue badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Shut the fuck up.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans on the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well,
what?
That's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing there, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot on the locker.
What? Man.
Whatever, doesn't matter.
So that means... just what exactly does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
Don't look at me! I didn't put it there! Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that means that this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought in.
But just one moment! I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom!
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, But it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice!
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time, someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been... Oh, wait. So, oh shoot, my bad. We had found traces of blood on the floor, right? Next to where Meekins had gone unconscious or whatever, which is fine. But it's not like Meekins would have been the one to wipe up the blood, right? And if there's like a pool of blood there shown, no one should have wiped it up because it's evidence. So that would indicate that someone had wiped that up that wasn't Meekins. Or Marshall. Right? Marshall wouldn't have had time to clean up that mess if that was a big pool of blood. So shouldn't someone have questioned where that blood went? Because we only found it through luminol testing, I think. At any rate, sorry. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been... It had to have been... Detective Goodman! When he was really murdered! That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be fake. However, that doesn't explain the blood mark we found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. Sorry, I hear sounds outside. I think probably the landlord's doing some work outside. When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being caught by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
Hold up. Meekins also brought down that blue badger, not noticing that bloody handprint. It sticks out like a sore thumb. How did he not notice? Whatever. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Also, he put that blue badger in front of someone's lockers. Why? What if someone needs to use that locker? They would have had to move it. Fucking idiot. Whatever. That's right. The blood mark on the locker would prove this. Whatever.
Very well. Then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edwards said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows that when the first crime took place?
I couldn't save. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. What shows when the first crime took place? Is it this? Because before Mike Meekins and Bruce Goodman went in, some other people were there. Let this be the answer. Okay. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh! The ID card report!
Officer Meekins brought Blue Badger... What? Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at...
Let's see here. 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would have been... 4:40. Miles Edward! Just what have you done?
I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it.
I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminol test that the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. Huh? I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. Oh, so that handprint on Gumshoe's locker wasn't there? What? No, yes it was. What? No, never mind, I don't care.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edwards entered the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait! That doesn't make any sense! How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7777777.
Mr. Edward, please look into this ASAP! Find out whose ID number is 7777777.
That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present.
What?
Explain yourself, son. The ID number 777777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. How would you fucking know that?
But that's ridiculous! Just how?
I'm not finished talking, Mr. White. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive.
God damn it. I don't know what they're doing down there. I just hear laughing and I hear banging.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. You're a cop. You work with us. You work with the prosecutors. What are you doing? I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes. No, not to you. To her. The defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I wanted to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident.
The SL9 incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edward. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Lana!
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant! Just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. Get out of the way. This is my stand for a second. I'll give it back to you after I ask my question. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't!
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserves.
But Lana!
Even if it involved the forging evidence. See, that's what I'm talking about.
No! No! Order! Order! Order!
Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. Tell everyone to shut the fuck up or kick them out. I mean, good for me, because then we have another day, but, like, still. Just tell them to shut up. Alright. Let's save. Alright, 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 alright. There we go, there we go. Now we save, 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 save. Just to be sure, save. You can never be too sure, but look at that number. 15, 55, 55. Alright, now we made sure there's video evidence proving that there's a save. There's 3 saves that we can use now. I mean, these two are pretty far apart, but whatever. That's it for now. I actually probably would have kept going, but I have to be somewhere in like an hour, so I'm gonna cut it here. Thanks a lot for watching. This trial there's still a bit of it, but we're getting through it. We are getting through it. Thanks a lot for watching. Oh, I don't need to save. Let me save. Just in case. I don't trust myself. Okay. Once again, thanks a lot for watching, and hope you've been enjoying things. Just things. Doesn't have to be my things, but I hope you're just enjoying things. Okay, bye.